Hey there. Today we have multiple different interesting things going on with the planets. It's one of those days when things seem to be activating in a variety of ways. One of them is Pluto stationing to go direct in Aquarius. And we also have the moon in Cancer. The moon went into Cancer Saturday night. Depends on your time zone. I think it was 11:30 something p.m. Saturday night Pacific time. So we had that Cancer moon feeling mushy, sensitive, vulnerable vibe on Sunday, and then also through the day today. And the moon joins up with Jupiter in Cancer, activating that need to connect with our beliefs about healing, what we care about related to healing, and where we want to expand into new possibilities for what healing could look like. We also have a Venus going into Libra as it forms a grand trine and a kite with the outer planets. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Monday, October 13th. So, like I said, lots going on today. And yesterday, I had some great and in depth thoughts on the outer planets, what we can expect heading into the weeks and months to come here, especially as those outer planets, which are now retrograde, are going to return to the signs they just recently left, so that we have some work to finish up in those signs. So that is going on, and just before those planets return to the signs they came from, uh, Venus going into Libra. 0 degrees Libra forms a grand trine. So we've got a trine between Venus and Pluto and Uranus. So Uranus is at 0 degrees Gemini. Pluto is at 1 degree Aquarius as it's stationing to go direct. So when a planet stations, its energy intensifies because it's not moving. It slows down, just like a train that's changing directions. It slows way down and then stops before it reverses direction and then slowly begins to move in the opposite direction. So during a station, which maybe comes from a train station, I'm not sure, um, the idea is that the planet's movement stops. And while it's hovering there, you have that energy of that planet intensified. So the energy of Pluto, truth and power, depth, complexity, the underworld, the subconscious, the realm of where things that have been in the unconscious need to become conscious. So these themes of accessing a deeper truth can unfold with Pluto at its station, because that energy of Pluto is intensifying. Um, the energy of Venus at 0 degrees move, it's not stopping there. So, so Venus moves through 0 degrees Libra and continues on its journey into Libra. So 0 degrees and then an exact trine to Pluto once it hits, 1 degree and a bit. So that energy of Libra, or of Venus, first of all, Venus rules Libra. It rules two signs, Taurus and Libra. So as Venus goes into Libra, it's entering its own sign, and it's emphasizing this energy of peace and values and balance and harmony. And so, where do we need to heal to bring peace? Where do we need to reconnect with our values so that we can bridge differences and heal divides and find common ground and work together effectively with others? Right? There are different kinds of peace. If you're thinking about peace in the world, or in your own life, there's peace that comes from shutting up, right? Being silent, not saying what you think. There's that kind of peace or stability that comes from being small, from backing off, from not saying what you need to say in order to maintain the peace. And then there is peace that comes from true movement forward, truly healing and coming onto the same page and listening to each other and healing rifts and finding ways of working together, that acknowledge and honor the differences and the different needs and the different perspectives. That second way is the much, much harder work, right? The much, much more difficult, but also more truly stable and healing peace when we really do that work to bring real balance and real justice and reestablish something that actually works, for both sides or all sides, depending on the situation. So themes of peace and peacemaking and what kind of compromises or sacrifices we make to bring the peace, but also where some of those compromises sometimes don't allow us to move forward. It's like, okay, if I decide to be a doormat, there's peace, right? But what kind of peace is that? So it's the kind of peace, the work is to bring the kind of peace, that has that deeper place of truth and justice that helps us to maintain that peace over time. And that we do this in relationship. If you are a human being who has relationships with other human beings, whether romantic or otherwise, you know how much harder that work is to do, to really acknowledge differences and acknowledge where you feel frustrated or get mad, and to have to work that out and get along with another person is far more challenging sometimes than just saying, okay, let's do it your way, right? Or whatever it may be, or let's do it my way, right? That's the other way of having imbalance. So, right, what is real balance in there? And it's something that we have to continue working at and working toward. So Venus in Libra, especially in this grand trine with Pluto and Uranus, on the one hand, a trine is easy. It says, yeah, go for it, whatever you want to do, it'll work out. So if you're kind of choosing to take the easy way out, you might get support for that, but you're not going to get the long-term healing that you could get if you are willing to listen more deeply, speak your truth more effectively and courageously, seek real justice, take a stand for something that you value, all of those things that are much more difficult to do. So when you put in those efforts, you can, this grand trine energy can be very supportive, but you have to do the hard stuff. You can't just opt out or take the easy way out and get the rewards. So that's what that's some of what we're dealing with today. And then, of course, let's throw the Cancer moon in there, and remembering that we also feel sensitive. We are dealing with emotions anytime the moon is in Cancer. Our emotional process, our needs for feeling and healing and feeling safe and just feeling that cozy sense of caring and safety. And so give yourself that self care that you need. Be sure to uh, pay attention to your needs and what you need and what makes you feel safe, but also what helps you feel safe so that you can do this harder, more creative, courageous work of participating in something that brings healing, that bridges divides, that helps something to move forward in a more peaceful, more stable manner. not through, I mean, compromise is not a bad thing, right? Sometimes compromise is really good. We just want to be careful that we're not overly compromising to the point where we're becoming a doormat or we're using someone else as a doormat. Those are all the pitfalls to watch for. So Pluto's station, and we have also Neptune on the brink of returning to Pisces. So I shared about that in my video from yesterday. Uranus soon, in the next few weeks, will also be returning to Taurus. And I shared about that in yesterday's video as well. So the energy of Jupiter in Cancer and really examining our beliefs around what we care about, what caring means in our lives, and what principles we have around caring, how we care for ourselves, how we care for one another, and how we need to be and who we need to be to make that real, make that come to fruition in the world in these times of uncertainty and change, and looking at that bigger picture of what matters to us and being able to really be vulnerable to say, hey, I may not have everything all figured out, but I need to speak my truth, right? That Plutonian truth coming up from the depths. So listen to yourself, listen to others, and take in, the change and the healing that you need. Take those extra efforts to make yourself feel safe and cared for, and be there for others as well. All right. Thank you for being here. I'm Marina Orms, and I have lots of great information about the lunar nodes and how the lunar nodes in your chart help you to step into your soul's purpose, do your healing work, do what you're here to do. And you can learn more about that at transformationalastrology.com. Book a reading with me at astrologyheals.com. Thanks for being here and for subscribing. I will see you next time with more astrology for unshakable self care. Bye for now.